This is gonna be the second one. I'm gonna react to a SkillCapped video. And from my boy Japanese import. Okay. Let's see what our boy Japanese import is saying. This is gonna be a little bit more fun reaction because I'm friends with him, so hey Sebastian. I'm friends with Japanese import, so let's see what he says. By the way, if you guys want to recommend your videos for me to react to, join the Discord. You have the rules there and you can recommend your videos for next week. Okay, good. Let's do the second reaction then. Okay, let's see.
As you get better and better in League of Legends, you start grasping many of the large concepts that you may not have understood before.
Another concept. Okay, let's see concepts.
Causing big jumps in rank and lots of progress. Many people might envision the climb kind of like this, with a uniform level of difficulty between each rank. However, it ends up being much more like this. Early on, you'll
no. How it usually looks like. I mean, I'm kind of like going a little bit too much up, but you guys know what I'm trying to say, right? We have ups, we have downs, we have ups, we have downs, we have ups, we have downs, you know? It doesn't like up, stale, you know? Sometimes we go a little bit down, and then up, you know? Over a league career, right? So this is like very interesting.
huge strides, pushing from iron to bronze, and bronze to silver doesn't take the same amount of time it does to push from grandmaster to challenger.
That's true.
Once you get up there in ranks, progress becomes a lot more difficult.
That is true.
As you probably already know most of the main concepts and don't really know what's holding you back anymore. There's no longer any huge fixes to make, and it really comes down to the absolute tiniest details that separate
True. That's one aspect, the details. True.
Someone better. In this guide, we're going to talk about what to do to get through those humps, whether they start in silver or grandmaster.
So he's gonna talk about the details that are important that's holding you back, regardless of if it's silver or grandmaster. Interesting. Okay, let's see.
Prove you have to understand what separates you from someone better. Again, the higher up you go, the harder this gets. So even if you only miss one decision in a string of 10, at challenger level, that's going to be extremely punishing. If you mess up 5 times in lower elos, you might not get punished at all.
That is true.
But it's important to fix those mistakes now so that you won't suffer in the future.
You're gonna suffer in the future regardless.
While guides on large concepts are very useful, if you think you're already applying all the knowledge and you're still not improving at the rate you want, the best way to fix this is to compare your thought process to someone else to see where your gaps in knowledge are.
True. At a higher level, if we can use this the same in the lower level in terms of comparing your thought process to someone else, but to someone else, for someone in lower elo, it's very hard to describe like who that person should be, because if you're gonna compare your thought process in silver to a challenger in challenger, you're gonna burn yourself, while 99% of people do that.
To do this, we'll showcase gameplay from high elo players to have you test your knowledge against theirs. Today, we're going
Test me, sensei.
to be looking at the Odd Orange's Elise, who hit challenger at 14 and has gone on to play on teams like Echo Fox and Team Liquid. He's definitely in the conversation for best Elise in North America. I'll be your guide and
North America. I don't like North America as a good example of reaching challenger. My personal preference, okay? I would personally not use America as a, but I understand Japanese is from America, so he likes to highlight his own field.
break down every single decision in the early game. It's incredibly important to actually understand why decisions are being made, not just approve of them when they are. For this reason, we're going to be asking a lot of questions, and for your benefit, try to play along and keep track of how many you get right. Be honest with yourself, and if anything gets brought up that you just didn't think about, write it down for the future.
Interesting.
To start, let's look at the team comps and formulate a game plan based on the information we'll have at the start of the game, namely just champions and lane matchups. Take a second to think and pause the video if you need more time. What lanes would you want to play around? What kinds of first path would you look to do?
So it's like a decision-making video. Okay, so let's test our skill. Okay, so let's see. As an Elise, right? Jace versus Camille. Jace wins hard. Malphite versus Irelia. Now this matchup, I don't know who pushes level 1. I think Irelia, because of sustain, can have the edge here. So then we have Tristana Pyke against Xerath Lux. This really depends on the player. So if this is Challenger, I don't know which players there are. A lot of times you have to know which players, you know, they're playing, you know. If this Xerath is like a AD carry player or, you know, whatever. But I would assume, you know, it's range versus melee. But if Pyke and Tristana land something good, then, you know, they can possibly push. The first thing you want to look is push, right? Next, you want to think about volatile. So, you know, ganking for Xerath and Lux, because this has a lot of escape, you don't really want to do it. You kind of want to, with at least just, you know, dive bot lane and, you know, see and capitalize if Xerath and Lux land a lot of good poke, right? It's going to be volatile lane and rek'sai is going to try to abuse it, which means we're going to go for like dives or counter ganks here. Then on mid lane, the thing is like level 1 to level 6, Malphite doesn't really have a lot of kill threat on the enemy, and we possibly wouldn't even win 2v2, especially because rek'sai is pretty strong. So because of that, you know, we're kind of gonna ignore Irelia versus Malphite matchup on mid lane till level 6, and then at level 6 we're gonna go. So what we're gonna do, because Jace is strong, we're actually gonna, you know, path towards top side, right, and protect the Jace and start, you know, playing throughout the only lane that I think is clearly winning, right? So how to do that? Well, you can start here, blue, grump, red, into top side, check rek'sai's route, because in Challenger, you know, they change the routes up based on what rek'sai. Now rek'sai, in my opinion, should play around bot side, right? But he can go, for example, you know, he can, you know, clear and go bot side, right? Or he can like start blue. So I think rek'sai is gonna start blue. So because of that, what we can see is that probably rek'sai is gonna go bot to top, or he's gonna go for a clear on bot side into bot, or yeah, I don't think he's gonna go red into top side, try to counter gank Elise on top lane because they lose 2v2. So yeah, Elise, 3 camps into top side, and then check, blasting plant, and then see based on what, and adapt based on what rek'sai is gonna do. Okay, play around top side after 6 here, and bot lane will look to counter gank or dive. Okay, let's see how well I did, guys.
A few things stick out immediately. Jace is the only source of AD damage on red team, so it's extremely important that he is able to be ahead or the enemy team will just stack MR. Additionally, Jace is an early game champion that tends to fall off later in the game, which increases the value of playing towards top side even more. At high levels of play, we often talk about strong side and weak side, which generally just denotes the side of the map a jungler will spend most of their time playing around. By making top side strong, the auto-range can use...
No, it's not strong side and weak side like where, you know, your jungler is gonna waste more of the time. It's more about... Strong side is where the jungler wants to play around, not it's going to play around, wants to play around, because the champions on that side can win their respective matchups, you know, 1v1. So because Jace is stronger than Camille, if we go with Elise there, with that strength from Jace, if we back it up, there's going to be a higher chance to win 2v2. If we go bot side, where there's Xerath and Lux, right, there's a lot more variables going into play. rek'sai and stuff have a lot more kill threat, and Lux and Xerath, if they miss their skill shots, are very hard volatile, you know? So the gank can fail. So if Elix path towards bot, and Tristana and Pyke just respected it, we cannot abuse it. While if we path topside and Camille pushes, we can abuse. If Jace pushes and makes her low, we can dive, right? There's a lot more options on the Jace side, so we call it strong side, because the laners on that strike are stronger than the laners on the opponent side.
Jace's likely early priority to open up his options. He can evade easier on top side and more easily contest top crab than bottom. This also has the dual purpose of allowing Jace to play without fear of the enemy jungler, and because both the jungle and top lane should on paper win their 1v1s, their 2v2 is very strong as well. Some of you might have wanted to play for bot here since they have 2 CC abilities, and while that's true, you don't always want to path into a lane just because it has gank set up. It's more important to consider the overall win condition of the game, and figure out how your early pressure will translate into a win.
Like the overall win condition about the game, like the MR, you know, AD, I know why he put that example, but, you know, even if bot lane is like, let's say instead of Xerath, we have like Vayne or something like that, we would still pass top lane towards the fat Jace, you know? So, again, this is where we come into discussions and variables and stuff like that, but I understand why he picked this example to really make clear that you want to path topside.
Playing for bot has a much weaker win condition due to the enemy just uniformly stacking MR versus the 3 people that would benefit from bot and jungle being ahead. Okay, so going into the game and knowing we want to path towards top, starting blue is the only thing that makes sense. Gromp afterwards is pretty much guaranteed in every pathing from blue, unless your champion really sucks at single target camps. So we'll pause at the next
It's interesting he didn't talk about mid lane matchup, you know? Interesting.
point that we need to make a decision. Right after we finish the Gromp, what would you look to do here?
Go to red. Why go to red? Very, very simple. Because we want to go and then go towards the top side. Now, the thing is like this. That's what we normally should do. But let's look at what happened before, right? Let's see if Camille was late to lane. Camille, we saw here. Camille was kinda late to lane. Let's see if bot lane. Okay, bot lane was late to lane later. Okay? But we need to see first is where was spiking or Tristana in a bush. This is again higher level, so we have to take that in consideration. So they could be stacking a bush. So let's see. So they came, right? So Pyke and Tristana came. Which means that based on the fact that Camille was top already at 137, she couldn't have leashed. That means Pyke and Tristana leashed. If you want to make sure you check the mana of Pyke and Tristana and see if they used mana, then rek'sai started red. Because rek'sai started red, we actually want to go Grump red into his jungle, right? If rek'sai started blue, right, then we would do wolves. Why? Because rek'sai is probably going to take his topside jungle, which means that we want to take our jungle so that we don't lose anything if rek'sai takes this 3 camps, red into our jungle, take our wolves. Okay? So we don't get resources behind versus rek'sai. Yep, so go red.
Sorry for the trick question, but the first thing you need to know is the wave states of lanes around where you're going to path to. If you rush to answer this question, make sure you're considering all the information available to you before jumping to a decision. If you don't know enough to answer a question, that's okay. Just recognize that you might need more information. Because of this, we now know that one of our good topside plays, a top dive, is less likely to work. The reason for this is the top lane wave state. A huge wave like this will not crash on the 3rd wave, where a blue Gromp red into top dive would have been a good timer. With 5 additional minions, this wave will crash much too quickly to have this play work. If Elise were to all in on the idea of doing blue Gromp red and going straight to top, the wave wouldn't be in a good spot for the dive, or to invade due to Camille being able to move.
Well, we don't even know what Jace and Camille used on top lane. So based on the fact Camille just went base, she probably have used TP. So if you ping that you want to invade and Jace actually TPs, Jace is gonna get pressure and you're gonna be in a perfect time for top lane to gank Camille or invade. So this is irrelevant.
This would mean Elise's risky low camp and high aggression play probably wouldn't result.
And based here, right, I want to get red on top to protect the laner, okay? Why? Because rek'sai sees this and is like, if Camille gets a kill on Jace, then Camille gets out of jail free card, right?
Result in much, wasting her time and setting her behind the enemy jungler. To offset this, doing wolves here kills some time and allows for Jace's wave to change from this less favorable state to a more gankable state here.
I don't agree, because if rek'sai went for red blue Grump himself into top, trying to contest, Jace would have died. So I completely disagree, you know? And rek'sai should have, because he started bot side, should have acknowledged what was happening in the laning phase and adapted, you know? Again, in lower elo, don't think like this. But, you know, we're thinking a lot about lane states, right? You know? But rek'sai should have adapted based on what Camille is doing, and he should have been top to protect her being pushed out, okay? And Elise should have been there before him and then catch him when he's trying to do that to try to punish the Jace that was still playing on top lane.
as well as keeping Elise more relevant in terms of experience. Even if Camille hadn't all-in here, the wave would be shoving out and she hasn't had the chance to ward yet.
Yeah? Why did Elise flash? Definitely because Camille flashed before and Elise is aware of that, and my boy Japanese import forgot to mention that.
Meaning sitting in the river bush would have a high success chance.
Wait, did she flash? Well, Camille is inting here. Okay. So Camille could have gotten out. Okay, I thought she doesn't have any flash. But then yes, this gank is not good. I don't know if Jace TP'd before, but if Jace had TP, Jace should have just backed TP'd and they would destroy rek'sai top side jungle.
And would only use 10 seconds of time.
But this is an A for you, right? You know, Camille could have easily escaped, but decided to go for the kill.
Would have been spent for this gank if Elise had skipped wolves.
Yeah, it is
Using time as efficiently as possible is key to opening up more opportunity for you later. Wasting as little time as possible should always be on every jungler's mind. Anyways, after this play, what would you look to do?
What I would look to do? Depends on the gold. Can you show me the gold? Like, I don't know how much gold I have, you know? So I can either recall and go for my bot camps that are gonna respawn, or I go for my crux. Like, I cannot go into river because rek'sai is gonna be there first, and we're not gonna have flash. So, you know, if I wanna play for, because I wanna play for bot crab, I would definitely here, again, depending on the gold, but probably recall and go for bot crab.
At this point, we know from earlier that rek'sai started at red due to bot lane showing late to lane, and we still haven't seen her on the map. It's likely that she began clearing from bot to top, so phase checking into the bush here for top crab is really scary, especially with Jace's resources being so low and Elise's flash being down. Going for top crab isn't really an option here, unless we have some more information. Orange hangs around for a bit to see if rek'sai shows top to interrupt Jace's recall.
That's a waste of time. Either go for Krugs or go back. Like, don't
Here we see rek'sai show bot on the minimap. What would you do now?
Really? I don't see him. Yeah, take his topside jungle. Let's go, baby.
Another
take
trick
his
question,
topside jungle.
Hopefully you got it this time. The minimap is not enough. We need to do a few things here. One is press tab and count rek'sai's CS. The other is move our camera to bot to check buffs. In the rest of this video, we'll provide lane states for you, but don't forget that your first instinct should be to want to look at them. Once we do this, we have more information to use for later plays. Now let's analyze the situation. rek'sai is missing blue and we cleared our whole bot side. So the easiest way she could have gotten 16 CS here is from her full bot side and bot crab. Take a second to think about what you would do now. Top crab is now on the table, as are all of rek'sai's camps and our own. However, also knowing that Jace can just TP back and rek'sai won't be around to counter, Elise and Jace can just go for a dive on the enemy top laner to deny the wave and snowball their advantage even further. Elise stays patiently out of vision while Jace pushes the wave and gets behind Camille to cut off her escape routes, then waits for her to take tower aggro before...
In this time, Elise could have taken blue, could have taken Grump, Jace could have set up the wave, and then they could have died. So Elise would have had 2 camps advantage.
...before committing. With nowhere to go and no TP to...
This is why, you know, I don't like decisions like this, you know, because Elise didn't maximize her time after she saw rek'sai bot. In my opinion, really bad decision making by Elise.
Salvage her lane, Camille is pretty much completely out of the game at this point. As Elise, what would you look for next?
Now, because we spend so much time and we don't know where rek'sai is, we can actually be afraid to go into topside jungle because rek'sai can be off of base. So now we can risk it and take our blue, or we can recall for our Grump, you know? So now this is like a risky situation. That's now based on... No, Grump is very... Who died? rek'sai? Did rek'sai die? Ah, okay, rek'sai died. Never mind. Never mind. Take his topside jungle. I didn't see rek'sai die. Well played. Take blue Grump base.
Remember all of those topside camps that rek'sai didn't do? This is why it's important that we did information gathering early. Without it, we probably would have...
But he should have done that before, into the dive.
Just thought that top crab was the only thing up here and gone straight for that. However, Jace and Elise know that rek'sai and Camille can't respond to a blue steal and go for it, securing it easily. After the blue, what would you look to do?
You see, he would have had blue and grump already, plus the dive would have worked, so...
Having killed Camille 20 seconds or so ago, we should be pretty worried that she will show up soon. Even though Jace is ahead of Camille, he still needs to reset to buy items and restore resources.
And this is a byproduct of the fact that we went through the bushes into a dive instead of taking resources before the dive.
Additionally, the enemy support died 30 seconds ago and has a really good roam timer until the wave crashes back at their tower. Right now is not a good time to do anything, so Odd Orange opts to lose double crab and instead takes Krugs and resets, the much safer option. Off of the recall, where would you go? Here are the lane states.
Top side, of course. You would go basically top side, so basically what you would do is you would go grump, you would take wolves, and then you would go top side.
You should look at your lanes here and see that bot has pushed their wave all the way in, meaning a neutral wave will occur soon. Mid has a neutral wave and is recalling while top is crashing at our tower, meaning it will be ungankable by the time we get there. As far as camp efficiency here, it makes the most sense to go to Gromp here since it and wolves are our cycled camps, and it would allow us to path back towards
Exactly.
top lane. After the Gromp, where would you go?
Exactly. After grump, I would go wolves, and then I would go through mid lane into top. Because Malphite is gonna hit 6, so very good time to kill.
Saw Pyke die on our way to bot, so we feel relatively safe about leaving bot lane alone here, meaning top and mid are the areas we should focus our attention.
Now we're not leaving bot lane alone here because they're safe. We're leaving bot lane alone because we don't care about bot lane. Plain and simple.
While mid is definitely gankable in this state, let's remind ourselves of our win condition. This game rests almost entirely on Jace being enough of a threat to kill MR stacking targets, so we're going to weigh that much more heavily. Because of this, let's think about when...
No, what we're gonna look at is we're gonna look at you know, bot lane is still even, and we don't really care about, you know, Xerath and Lux, and it's very risky to gank a lane versus, you know, rek'sai, Tristana, Pyke, you know, a lot of CC. And top lane, we just got 2 kills, so what we want to do is we want to snowball the fed Jace, right? So because top lane, every single fight we're going to take with the Jace is going to result in a positive outcome. So that's why we want to path to the Jace, control top side, take our bot side, rek'sai's top side, start starving rek'sai, give him the first Drake, and then, you know, slowly, you know, play for the first tower, Herald into, you know, Jace starting to snowball the game with us.
This lane will be able to be influenced by us. A wave like this is huge and will crash relatively soon. We want to punish the Camille and not...
I agree here that he skips wolves based on the wave state. So I agree with Elise here, you know. I agree that I said grump wolves. Based on the late state right now, it's actually good that he skipped into top. Because the wave is going to be perfectly for dive if Elise just goes top.
Let her farm this wave under tower to collect a massive amount of gold. We need to be top when it does. Additionally, a wave like this is where rek'sai would
gold,
likely
mainly
look
experience,
for a gank.
but yeah.
Skipping wolves lets us be on time for this play now.
If rek'sai ganks, this is a useless piece of shit, okay? He's stupid, he's bad, and he doesn't deserve to be challenger, okay? rek'sai shouldn't gank. He should see bot lane overextending. He should go there with his Pyke. He should secure something on bot side and play around his Drake. rek'sai should never gank that lane. If he ganks...
Think back on when we did wolves on the first clear to go top. The wave state of where you want to influence is the...
You see? rek'sai's bot side. We saw him on that ward, you know? We saw him here.
Main deciding factor in how many camps you can do to still get there on time while maximizing your own farm.
Yep, and now he's ganking bot.
Elise and Jace win the resulting play and deny him...
Now guys, what we are doing in terms of wave management, skipping, what we're showing here in this video, this is not for, you know, small-hearted ones. This is like the thinking process throughout the whole video that I'm commentating is at a challenger level, okay? It is not, you know, for, you know, silver, bronze, gold, plat, you know? Trust me. Don't, you know? It's nice that you think about this, but you would think it a little bit differently with how you would snowball your advantages, at least here, if you would be in those zealous, you know? Because what Jace is doing is a lot of good things that then result in us following him and trusting him, but, you know, I don't think any Jace in NA gold would know how to do this, you know?
Massive amount of gold from Camille once again. After respawning, Orange goes back to bot side to claim his blue and skips camps to get back to top side sooner. What do you think this is?
Now here Jace is basing, so this is bad. He should be clearing his jungle. This is a mistake.
Once again, we want to play around our win condition.
Because Jace is basing.
Rift Herald is also spawning here, so we can start translating this massive top lead into an actual map win.
I don't know what Irelia is doing.
Playing around your strong side constantly gives you really high percentage chance.
And you see how we swap sides, right? Elise plays top side, rek'sai plays bot side, right?
Chances of all your plays working out. Once you start a snowball, you need to keep it going, and that's exactly what happened in this game. Later in the game, Jace
nice how he left the wolf. I like it.
Absolutely takes over, all according to plan. He smashes team fights, allowing Orange to secure Herald and start opening up the map. Orange is winning.
Every Jace in NA, you guys meet in gold, plat, silver. Give him those kills, he's gonna snowball. He's gonna destroy the game. Just believe in him. Have some faith, guys. You know?
In his 1v1.
By the way, this was a joke. Just so nobody really does it. Okay? Thank you.
And the rest of the game plays out super easily for their team. In planning, he identified a win condition and played to it extremely well. Sometimes you're not the 1v9 carry in a game, and that's okay. But setting up the right teammate to do it is just as valuable as knowing how to do it yourself. And if you're serious about truly becoming a better jungler and climbing fast, then check out SkillCapped's. It's the best place to improve. If you don't climb at least 5 divisions, guaranteeing you'll get ripped. We offer this because our service really does work, and if it doesn't, you shouldn't pay for it.
Interesting. I didn't think they're gonna make videos like this. Okay. Interesting. I was thinking they're gonna do it in a different way, but the content team always surprises. Okay, so this was a SkillCapped video. If you guys want to see more, join the Discord, vote for your video to be reviewed. Other than that, have a good one, guys.